this meeting to order. Pastor, would you open with devotion?
Absolutely. Once again, comes out of Faith Alone, a daily devotional by Martin Luther. For today, faith shows itself in love. This is my command, love each other. John 15:17. In this passage, Christ repeats the command to love each other. By love, believers are held together, and love is the mark of true believers. Jesus emphasizes this command because he knew how many false Christians would arise, how many would praise faith with elegant words and a great show, but wouldn't back up their words. Just as God's holy name is dishonored and used for evil, and just as Christianity, the church, and everything that is holy are misused, so the names of faith, love, and good works will also be used for false show and mask. For the devil doesn't want to be as dark as he is painted, but he wants to shine in the fine clothes of God's word, the Christian church, faith, and love. Christ teaches us that it's not enough to praise faith in Christ, but we also need to produce Christian fruit. For where these fruits aren't evident, or where the opposite appears, Christ is certainly not present. In that case, only a false name exists. That's why we must say to these people, I hear that beautiful and glorious name, which is noble and worthy of honor. But what about you? Similarly, the evil spirit said to the son of Sceva, Jesus I know, and I know about Paul, but who are you? From Acts chapter 19:15. But some may object. Doesn't faith justify and save us without works? Yes, that's true, but where's your faith? And how does it show itself? Faith must never be useless, deaf, dead, or in a state of decay, but it must be a living tree that bursts forth with fruit. That's the difference between genuine faith and false faith. Where there is true faith, it will show itself in a person's life. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, you've given us faith to praise you and to praise your Son. We ask that you bring and help us with our faith during this meeting to do the work of your church. We ask that you be with us as we begin Lent until the final days where we remember again your Son who died for us and then rose again to give us eternal life. Help us birth and burst our lives with faith so that we can truly love one another. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pastor, I'm a little bit surprised by that because it almost sounds like from James where he wrote, faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that what Luther's saying there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, but Luther didn't like James.
He didn't necessarily not like him, he just didn't agree with everything
Well,
that
didn't
James
he
said.
call it the Epistle of Straw?
Yeah. It's one of those epistles that if he had the choice, he probably would not have put into the canon, but he recognized why it was put into the canon to the first place, and so he didn't really object too much about it. But he did write a lot about James. There's other parts of James that he doesn't really like, but faith without works, he also says that if you do works for your neighbor in order to show your faith. That's his meaning on James.
Okay.
I said that would be hard for me, my neighbor.
Do
Okay, you're up.
Really
Do
like-
you have any correspondence?
I do. We received a couple of letters from Hopewood Outdoors, the camp on Lake Road, and the executive director, Penny Christensen, is retiring, and They are also thanking us once again for our $200 donation, and they gave us a plaque, or a certificate, I guess, acknowledging that we donated to them in 2022. And we received a letter from the American Red Cross at the last blood, I can't think. Blood drive, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
At the last blood drive, 26 donors registered, 2 were deferred, and 24 units were collected. So that's all I have.
So that was a blood drive report.
From Melissa at the American Red Cross.
Okay. Have you had the chance to read the minutes from the January 2023 meeting? I'm hearing yes, and
Yeah, we didn't have time because you didn't see.
Okay.
are there any additions or corrections to those minutes from last one?
So under the treasurer's report, it indicates that the fund balance is as of 8/31/22. That should have been 12/31/22.
General fund balance as of 31/Jan/22. Sure, it should be 23, shouldn't it?
I'm
This is what
looking,
you're,
this is what I'm looking at,
okay.
which is the minutes from our last meeting.
Oh, the minutes,
Okay.
the treasurer's report.
All right. It's cool. I'm there.
Just saying,
I'm there.
Okay.
8:31.
you were just wishing it was summer
It's
instead of
okay.
winter.
You can fire me.
That's my line, hon. You can't do that.
Oh, gosh. I'll correct that.
It's all right, we were all looking somewhere else.
All right.
I didn't see anything else.
Okay, so let's move on to the other committee. We'll approve all at one time. Let's move on to the other minutes. We didn't have a all committee meeting this month.
Nope.
But Pastor, you have your report.
Yep.
Anything you want to highlight about your report?
Not really. Just my hopes and dreams for today.
Let's see.
The board knows I need vacation, but it's gonna be a while.
You gotta get through Lent first.
And Easter.
Okay, any corrections or any other adjustments to those minutes? Pastor's shaking his head no.
No.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve those minutes. George, is there a second from Pearl? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Passed unanimously. Stacy.
Mark.
Give us the good news.
Okay, I'll find a ray of sunshine in there somewhere, how's that? Okay, the treasurer's report, I'm gonna be just like you, Kay, it's just the day and the weather. Is in your packets. So as of the end of January, our general fund balance was $4,811. That is down reasonably, like almost by half from where it was at the end of December. Our offering income for the month of January was $13,500, which is 90% of our estimated budgeted revenue that we need. And our expenses were $18,583, which is 17% higher. I'm gonna spend a little time talking about the why on the higher. But you can see that's a net difference, so it's a negative drawdown on the account of about $4,200 throughout the month. The drivers on the higher expenses, we did have Chris continue on through the month of January to help Jennifer during that transition. And that was not a budgeted line item, so that's just a higher spending than budget. And that's the largest contributor to the overage,
How much was that?
$2,310.
That's how much we paid Chris?
Yes, that included her pay for the month of January complete and vacation accrued,
Okay.
unused. Okay? The other big drivers are gas was a lot higher than budget, mostly because we budget gas flat throughout the year, and we know that during the winter months it's much higher, and in the summer it's almost nothing. So I expect that to even out by the end of the year. That's my ray of sunshine. I expect to be at budget.
We'll hold you to it.
Okay. Snow removal was a lot higher than budget. That had to do with some issues around the signature around the contract and the billing that Blackstone had done. So the last bill I received for the month of February was only $25. So that should offset as we go further. And I think the contract ends in April.
April.
I think the way we explained it at the finance meeting was that the plowing contract had not yet been signed, so he was billing us for every time he
Pushed.
pushed snow.
That's correct.
And that was $1,000 just in the month of December.
November and
Uh,
December.
November and
November
December,
and
both
December.
months, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was 5 pushes.
But he has we've since signed that contract, and now he's honoring that contract, and so applying that $1,000 towards the contract. How much
Correct.
is the annual contract?
28 or 2,900.
It's $575 a month,
Yeah.
so. So those were the primary drivers. There were some small contributors in there also, but those were the big ones. So, any questions on income and expenses?
You forgot to mention that there was no cost.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's another ray of sunshine.
No,
George didn't sign any money.
There was no what?
no cost in building repairs for 2 months, almost.
Almost. All right,
But,
moving.
well, we should draw it to your attention that during the month of February, until the counters counted and the deposit was made, we were down to under $200. Am I correct in that?
We were down to $179 in the checking account.
Yeah.
We had, and that was 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. No, just last week. But we had a sizable offering on the February 12th offering envelopes. Likely one contributor that gives their annual
Annual.
amount. We get one in January, one in February, like clockwork every year.
So we had a deposit of over $9,000, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which helps for the time being, but we have a definite issue with the checking account balance as we're starting to draw down and expenses are higher than income.
We haven't touched the reserve account yet, have we?
Not yet.
Yeah. And we haven't dipped into the rental property
Correct.
reserves either,
Not yet.
but we're headed that way.
Yeah, I figured we'd talk about that after I got through the treasurer's report a little bit. We'll move down to the fund balances. Through the month of January, they did increase over where they ended at the end of December. So that was nice to see, although I watched what the market did today and went, oof,
It's one day.
that's one day. I know, I'm in it for the long
Stop
haul.
doing that.
That's the first time I looked in a week. I was like,
Okay.
really?
Don't look.
You can see our rental balances. Detroit Street's at 15,865. That's just gonna continue to be drawn down now as we don't have a renter there. I do have the property tax bills that are due March 1st that I will be paying on Monday, so that'll take a chunk out of there.
George, are all the utilities turned off over
All the
now?
utilities have been stopped and turned off. The one thing that I did forget to do, I haven't done, was stop the garbage.
Okay.
So I need to do that.
So,
Well, it's a quarterly bill, so as long as you do it before, we're paid up, I think, through March.
Okay.
Is that, I understand the basement over there is damp or is it wet? Is it like running water or is there a sump pump is what I was wondering
No,
about?
I would say though that there was only one spot where you could see that there was water across the floor,
Mhm.
but the damp, there's a lot of dampness, from what I saw, and Pastor, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I saw, a lot of the dampness was underneath the collected stuff.
yeah.
Oh, there was stuff in the basement.
There's stuff all over the house.
Well, I saw the pictures of the house, I thought maybe since they had a refrigerator in front of the basement door, they didn't get down there often to put stuff.
George, has the plumbing been drained?
No, I didn't drain it, no.
All right, Sandusky Street's down slightly.
Excuse me, just let me mention, Mark, since you mentioned that, the gas was shut off on the 3rd of February. Not because anybody had it shut off, because they didn't pay the bill. So it was already shut off before we had the freezes, even though we had water and electric in there.
Okay. All right, so Sandusky Street's down slightly, but again, that's just going to continue to be drawn down as we only have the one renter, or it'll stay relatively flat, but as long as we don't have any more expenses coming out of there other than the usual. I do pay electric, gas, and the property bill out of there right now. And our reserve account's sitting at $38,118. So that's really all I had for the treasurer's report. One thing I wanted to bring to council that I think we all need to agree on, and our finance committee talked about this on Thursday, is as the checking account goes negative, and we've relied on the rentals in the past, we're not gonna be able to rely on the rentals as much, since we have 2 out of the 3 units not rented. So, the funds, we agreed that it was the right decision to use the funds from the reserve account in the interim, until we can right this ship, because those funds came from offerings. They were offerings that I had set aside for a pastor's salary so that we had a cushion when we did get a pastor in. So I feel good about using them because they were offerings to support the operation of the church. We're not doing anything untoward. So I will start with those as long as everybody thinks that makes sense.
It does?
And then over the next few months, well, we can talk about rentals as a separate subject.
Excuse me, we have used reserve before, haven't we?
We did for Pastor Bailey's salary when he
Okay.
was part-time,
That's what I
but
thought.
that's it. I've never used it for operating expenses before.
Okay.
Well, we had a reserve account of very close to $90,000 at that time.
Yes, we did,
Yeah.
and we drew it down to almost nothing.
Right. So, but it did go to operating expenses.
It went strictly to the pastor's salary, it didn't go to operating expenses.
To Pastor Bader.
Yes.
Okay, any questions about the treasurer's report? Ask for a motion to approve it.
I will.
Kathy and Shirley, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. It's approved. Okay, any old business? I gave an update on the Sandusky Street property at the congregation meeting, and I'll go a little bit further. Rick Bidmar's been in there, and he told me that he has the upstairs done as far as, he was putting shoe mold around. So I painted the shoe mold, a couple coats, and he's been you know, tacking it in place all around the baseboard. And it's a nice finishing touch. The floors are done upstairs. I don't know if he has reset the toilet and the vanity in the bathroom.
He told me Sunday he was done with everything.
Okay,
That's what he told me.
all right.
I haven't seen it, but
So, yeah, I looked in the window the other day and I could still see some shoe mold on the sawhorses, so I wasn't sure if he was done. But it could be just leftover
I
pieces.
have no idea.
But, yeah, he was to reset the toilet and reset the vanity and so, but the upstairs, is looking good and the downstairs looks good too. The kitchen, floor looks so much better. It was in bad shape. I mean, the old, couple layers of vinyl or linoleum and he cleaned that up and, he put in some underlayment where he needed to and then put down this new, plank flooring. And this plank flooring is nice. It has a cork backing to it. And it feels good to walk on, it feels solid. I don't feel any real sagging, I don't hear any real squeaking. It's supposed to be very durable, waterproof stuff. Looks nice, the color's great. It's the same, I think it's the same color what's in our food pantry here. And that's holding up very well, isn't it, Michelle?
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Same material.
Yeah. And we bought that locally. We bought that from Anderson Flooring, but Rick put it in. So I'll go check to see if he did reset that toilet and that vanity. The cabinets are on order. It could be 10 to 14 days. Paul Cole said he would work with me and Jerry Brookhauser to install those cabinets. There are four base cabinets and 4 wall cabinets. Any questions about Sandusky Street? I talked to Jeannie Hybrid because I'm concerned about my window treatments, and she's going to meet me there Thursday, and just to see what ideas she has on window treatments. You know, I looked at different types of blinds, and they can be kind of pricey. So I was just wondering what ideas that she may have.
Is this, whenever I rented the place, there's never, I've always had blinds, if there wasn't blinds, there was never window treatments.
Same for me.
Because you normally, when you move in, you want to put up your own curtains, your own design. I mean, the hooks, the rods were there, but as far as actual curtains and stuff, that was up to the tenant. And then, this is where, when we write our rental agreement, it would state proper window treatment, meaning not.
No blankets.
No blankets and sheets.
Beach towels.
Beach towels, right.
Yeah.
When my daughter rented down in Dayton, one of the things in her rental contract, she could have drapes, but the part that faced the road had to be white. Everybody in the whole place had white facing out.
Yeah, I just don't,
Interesting.
I don't know if, putting up curtains is an expense. I mean, it's not that big of an expense, but they have to be washed, they have to be maintained, they have to be cleaned by the renter.
So it's been so long since I've rented it, so you're saying it's normal to have no
No
window
window
treatments
treatment,
That's
whatsoever?
absolutely
Well,
correct.
normally you have the rods.
Right, the rods
The
are
rods
up
The
there,
rods are installed.
yeah.
But that's
In
it.
some
That's it.
places. My place that I'm living in right now had, the
Nothing.
only blinds that it had was in the kitchen. So I had to buy blinds for 3 bedrooms and the living room.
And the condo I rented up on Lake Road was the
No.
same way.
Yeah.
We had to buy the blinds.
Yeah, blinds or curtain rods, whatever you want, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Rick Teed, the roofer, finished. He was up there and he did flashing around the chimney. And also, see, it's a hip roof that comes up and has a flat spot right in the middle. And it was leaking there, so he repaired that. Down in the basement, we had Rick Vidmar put in 3 new glass tilt-in windows. But on the east side, there was a window that was still, we didn't want to put glass there because it's close to the steps coming down off the back porch. So we had Rick block that in. He did a nice job. Also, that east wall, a lot of the mortar was bad. I mean, there are big gaps that you could, you know, stick a pencil about 2 inches into it, and this mortar was just soft and crumbly. He tuck pointed all that, and that whole east wall looks good. So his part is done. The roof, the gutters, and the wall downstairs, and then he blocked in, you know, concrete blocked in that window, which is nice and
Yeah,
cool.
that window would have been a hazard if it had been left, because it was large enough that you could see some kid falling down.
Yeah, and it's right next to the
Break in.
steps.
Usually
There's-
break in.
Yeah. So
And it's
it's,
back there, it'd be dangerous.
now that he's done with that, I'm gonna just like hose down those walls and repaint them. It'll just brighten that whole area tremendously.
Close down what walls?
Pardon me?
Oh, the basement walls.
Alright, so I should expect an invoice from Rick Teed soon?
Well, I brought it into the office yesterday.
Okay, I did not
You didn't see it.
I didn't see it yesterday, okay.
When you see it, it was more than the original estimate that he gave us, because we talked about blocking in the window, but he didn't put that into his original estimate. I don't know why, but I assumed that it was in there. So he charged extra, I think, a total of $250 extra for taking out that old window and blocking it in. Kathy and I, we reported at the congregation meeting that we went into the other unit, and I told her it wasn't acceptable, and I haven't heard back from her. I saw her one additional time, and I said, Debbie, let's not wait, until winter's over. Just start putting out a couple bags a week. If you have more than that, we're probably gonna have a dumpster. I'll take it down, just send it out. She said, okay, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Does Bob Hall still pick up for Sandusky Street?
No,
He does.
He does?
Bob Haas does.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah,
and he doesn't care how
He's
much you
still
put up.
doing, her side, and he was doing these too.
Mhm.
He was doing Detroit and
Okay.
Sandusky.
He doesn't have a limit of how many bags you can put out there.
Well,
Yeah, he didn't,
Yeah,
wouldn't,
yeah.
probably filled that truck a couple times over, so.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me about the stuff that we saw, it was all brand new, a lot of it was brand new with tags on it.
Yeah, I didn't look closely at it. I couldn't tell you what the items were, but it's just very cluttered.
I mean, I don't know what's underneath the piles and stuff, but.
And Kathy.
I was thinking when we were talking, after we left there, I was thinking we should have said, cause you gave her an end date. I was thinking that we probably should have said, and we'll be back in 3 weeks to check to see what your progress is. Because sometimes when you get a long date out, you like procrastinate.
No.
That's what I do. So I was thinking that we
That's
Went
probably,
to college and seminary
No,
like that.
Kathy, that's why I
It's the cheap
reiterated
nature
to
of
her,
work
I
like
said,
that.
let's start now.
yeah.
Because there's things that you can be sending out now.
That's fine.
If you want them to go to Goodwill, take them there. I'll take them there. If it's going into rubbish, I'll haul it down to our dumpster, or put a couple bags out a week. But you gotta get started. This is a monumental job.
It is, it's huge.
It's gonna be very difficult for her to do.
Yeah, and because there's some kind of disorder there. So for her, it's gonna be just like.
Well, it's overwhelming, right?
Right.
How do you pick at the elephant? One little bite at a time, then that's
But-
hard, you gotta start, that's the hardest
Well,
part.
for a hoarder, it's more than that.
It's
not
psychological.
like-
Yeah.
they can't let go of the things.
Mhm.
They have put an attachment that they need this to
Wow.
feel good.
So basically, she knows it's too cluttered, it's
Mhm.
fire hazard, health hazard.
It doesn't smell in there.
No, there's no odor. What was the end date you gave her?
I think April 1st. But then I saw her, as I said, I saw her again. I said, well, let's start now. Because she was saying, well, it's still winter, it's a mild winter. That doesn't stop her from bagging things up inside her house and putting them out on the porch or out at the curb.
There could be, maybe we could make, if she needs help. Dee Day's looking for donations for her rummage sale.
But what I don't wanna do is, I don't wanna be the one sorting through things
Yeah.
and saying whether this stays or goes. That's her decision, but there's just so much stuff in there.
It is overwhelming.
On other old news or other old business, if you listen closely to pastor at the congregation meeting, we made an amendment to part of the Constitution because they were in conflict. The conflict was, it still said the congregation picks the officers, then that was in chapter or paragraph 5, and if you go to paragraph 9, or section 9, whatever you want to call them, it says that the council chooses the officers. So we deleted that letter J or whatever it was where the congregation picks the officers.
Only deleted a very small part of it, please.
Right. So just as a clarification, if you see that, you know, in one of the drafts or the final draft that we got, that has been corrected.
Okay.
Where it's the council that now elects the officers, president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary.
What a great segue. So we do need a vice president here, just in case Mark is unable to be here. Need a vice president, and need a nomination, and then the council votes on it. And that's also a matter of course, because of the new constitution, it would be a good idea to have the council vote for Mark as president, Stacy as treasurer, Kay as secretary for the 2-year term as officers. And the vice president would also be a 2-year term.
I personally think that makes a lot of sense, listening to what Mark just said, as well as thinking about the meeting. There was a lot of discussion at the end of the meeting specifically about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was understood by the congregation that the council elects the officers. So I think to make it official, I think what your suggestion is absolutely dead on, is the ones that are officers now, we vote or nominate them and vote on them, however it needs to be.
Well, are there any nominations for vice president? I know that's kind of short notice, but you know we have this vacancy.
You can self-nominate if you want.
So, to help people, the duties of the vice president are,
Okay. That's part of everything that you're gonna get. You're gonna get a brand new constitution too. Once we get there. Power of the congregation, specific duties of the pastor, officers. The duties of it's in here. Give me a second.
Sure.
Talk amongst yourselves.
How about those Browns?
How about
Who?
look at you?
Well, you can stare at me
The
for
what?
all I want. I don't care. I can get used to it now.
That's true.
It was really
Every Sunday.
Yep.
nice that Pam and her girls came Sunday.
Yeah.
sorry, didn't mean to ask for stuff.
It's okay.
But I figure if somebody's gonna self-nominate, they should
The
know what they're
girls
nominating
said
themselves
that
into.
Oh, it's
this
not
looks
over.
like a kid's church.
Sorry.
We'd like to come here.
We need to get the kids
Okay.
going.
The office of the vice president, according to our continuing resolutions, assumes the role of president during the president's absence or incapacity. The vice president normally chairs a committee or ministry. The vice president is to assist the president as needed or requested by council president in regards to Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Thus ends the description.
Holy smokes.
So the vice president usually chairs a committee. Is that what you said?
But not required to.
Normally, it just says normally. So if you're a committee chair, you can be vice president, which would make a lot of sense.
Time for me to get under the table.
Well, there's a few committee chairs
There's
here.
three.
There's
Just
three.
about everybody.
Yeah, I'm not, well, finance,
Yeah.
but I already have a position.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Anybody
not-
want to swap?
No, no.
We will never be
The
voting for
pastor
a
will
new
not let
treasurer.
that happen.
We'll never be voting for a
But you
new
need a vice
treasurer.
president.
I can find somebody else, but it didn't hear.
was quick.
I just got off the hook with the horse club, and I did that for 20 years. I wrote for a magazine for 20 years, and I finally just said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm trying to get my house straightened out.
Okay, so if we go down this side of the table, George, would you be interested in vice president?
I would fill the role if elected.
Are there any other nominations?
Yeah, don't go, don't.
No, it's fine.
Keep going.
I see none.
I'm too new. I don't know what I'm here yet.
Then, so I would call for a motion to close the nominations.
Moved.
We have a motion from Pastor, we have a second.
Second.
Second from Stacy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is this just a vote by hand or voice?
It can be a vote by voice.
Okay. George has been nominated to be vice president, and he would serve for 2 years, and then he could serve again for another, what's house?
Another 2 years.
Another 2 years. Okay,
Oh, it's supposed to be closed. I can't remember.
so all in favor of George being vice president, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Thank you, George.
Congratulations,
Dun,
George,
dun, dun.
you're vice president.
Any abstentions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are they both allowed to be officers?
Okay. Okay, according to the old policies. and
Right,
this
and
is-
that was an old one. I
It
thought.
is an old one. Members of the same household cannot be elected to serve as officers.
Mhm.
However, unless, Kay, you have to give up your secretary because we just voted George in. Or we can amend the policy in order to allow that to happen. The fact that there's not a whole lot of people chomping at the bit to be council members, we're gonna have people of the same household in order to, on the council.
Yeah, but we're on council, not off. Prior to this election, we were not both officers.
That is correct,
So we were both on council, which is okay.
right.
Um,
Who wants to be secretary?
Who wants to be vice president?
We already went through that once. Vice President George,
I mean,
get over it.
I'm willing to step down if I need to.
I don't think there's gonna be that major of a
I
conflict
don't
between,
think that there's gonna be any conflict if they're both.
I don't think there will be,
no, I don't think,
I
no.
really do not.
And that's really what that concern in the policy is
Conflict
addressing,
is gonna
right?
be between her and I.
Yeah, it's really more what I'm concerned about.
Y'all made it this long, I have to go figure it out.
But,
Oh, you guys were married?
Almost 50.
But to your point, then
Okay,
we would need to
you'll-
amend that section of the,
which is a great segue into everything else that we're doing tonight.
right,
So, yeah, so we do, that's the pastor. I did need to amend then that section on the continuing resolutions, policies, officers, and offices. Chapter 1 of policies. Yes,
Before we jump into all that, cause that's gonna take a lot of time,
yes, well, some of it,
can I bring this up?
yes.
Okay,
We'll table this discussion of households until just in a little bit.
okay.
we, a lovely lady named Arlene came to Pastor and talked to her about a possible fundraising for us. What is happening in June? GOBA, which is the Great Ohio Bicycle Adventure, is coming to our county. There's gonna be between 12 and 15 bicyclists. They're gonna be camping in Jefferson, and they're gonna be doing a loop through our community. Their lunch stop, where they're gonna stop and take a rest, is gonna be over where D-Day is held. They approached us to be a lunch stop. So they've asked us if we would be willing to be a lunch stop. What would happen is we would make pre-made meals or sandwiches and stuff, set up long tables, and these people would come through and buy the food. There's a possibility of making.
The cyclers would buy the food?
Yeah, the cyclists, between $8 to $10 a person that they would spend on the lunches.
And what are they cycling for?
This is something that
Just
you,
recreation.
it's just
Oh, okay.
recreation, they're gonna be riding like 50, 60 miles a day.
You said 12 to 15 bicyclists?
12 to 1,500.
I missed the
You said-
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't say
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
say 100 before.
Okay, 12 to 1,500 bicyclists.
That sounds more impactful.
So it is a big undertaking. I went to the meeting, they give us directions on what we need to do, how to set up, what to do, what to serve for lunch. Corpus Christi is also interested in helping us do this, meaning they would split the costs with us and we would split the profits. We're looking at 6,000 plus in profits. And for the ministries, $6,000
Before your expenses,
after
after
expenses,
expenses.
yes,
So $6,000
plus.
in profits, and how many cyclers?
12 to
12 to
1500.
1,500. That's a one-time thing?
It's a one-time thing, they would be here Monday morning at 9 o'clock and they would be done by 1 o'clock.
And what
If-
month
If we had,
June,
if we had on the low end 1,200 and we charged $8, that's $9,600 gross,
Before expenses.
gross.
and split?
I participated in GOBA 2 consecutive years with my sons. We started, the first one was on the west side of the state. The second one was started down in Medina. And yes, it always starts on Father's Day. And on Sunday, the ride starts, some start gathering, now they're gonna gather at the fairgrounds in Jefferson. That's their starting and ending point. But from there, they are going to go into Lake County. They're going to explore covered bridges in Ashtabula County and that sort of thing. So I looked at their schedule a little bit, but it's basically riding somewhere around 50 miles a day for 6 of those 7 days. So that adds up to about 300 miles. And yes, they're hungry, they want good food. They will be camping out at the different overnight places that they go to. They have tents. GOBA has trucks to carry all their baggage. All they have to do is cycle and carry their personal things and money and so forth. When I did it, there were upwards of 3,000 people. Now, maybe COVID has maybe taken its toll on that. So maybe when she says 12 to 1,500, probably going by the pre-registrations that they've had so far.
they've already have 8,000 people signed up.
Wow.
8,000, and you're gonna
I'm
have
sorry, 800,
1,500?
I'm sorry, 800, I'm looking at 1,000 here. I'm looking at 16,000 here, sorry. I'm looking at 16,000 here. They already have 800 people pre-registered, and that's the most that they've ever had this early. So they're estimating they're gonna have 12 to 1,500 riders.
People are anxious to get back out and do something.
Right. Now, they do ask, there's a couple things that they have asked us if we would be willing to do is in the parking lot across the street, if they could put their porta potties for their people and to set up water horses. You know, they were like, what?
Yeah.
And they would even, I said, would you be willing to pay for the water? Because these people coming through with water, and they said that they would be willing to do that. I did talk to Mike Pignotti. They're more than willing.
Okay.
Well, I don't know,
That'd be a fun conversation.
well, at first it wasn't.
No,
Then
I
it
know
turned-
Mike.
And then it turned nice after a while. Cause there was some miscommunication on what he thought was gonna happen, but it was corrected. I do need to give him an answer like right away.
So Mike's,
Would help
is
us.
he the coordinator? Oh, between Corpus and us?
Me and him would be communicating, we would be brainstorming, creating our menu, we have to create the menus,
But that's between you, Corpus Christi and us?
Right.
Okay.
right, and then, we have to submit a menu to, GOBA, because they wanna make sure the other stops aren't serving the same things. He's already got 60 turkeys he has to get rid of that we could cook up and make turkey sandwiches with. So, I mean, it would be work, but we would like celery and carrots in bags, oranges. They're telling us granola bars, only open what you use, have your stock sitting there. If you don't use it, ship it back to the stores, return it all back. They've done this, they gave us all instructions. They have the signs they'll be putting up saying, Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, 5 miles. You can get a turkey sandwich, you can get this, you can get that. So the riders will know where we're at.
Yeah,
Mark,
this-
you said you think $9,000 gross
Well,
revenue?
I was just using 1,200 at $8. That's $9,600 gross.
Plus, they said put out a tip jar and we will get lots of tips. We will
Okay.
get lots
Do
of
they
tips.
eat on our grounds then?
They will take it across the street and eat, or they'll take it to go, wherever.
That's what I wondered,
Yeah.
if they take it to go or if they
What-
stay here to eat.
No, we're gonna be set up outside if it's not raining, and
Yeah,
they told us to start collecting those little can boxes, you know, that you get cases of cans in. So they can pick up one of those boxes, we'll take a sandwich, we'll take this, we'll take that, and take it and go.
Like you said, it's a tray, you mean?
Yeah, to use as a tray, yeah.
Now, this is a recreational event, a lot of young families, you'll see a lot of trailers with toddlers in these trailers. Or where they have an attachment to the end of the bike where they have a toddler or youngster pedaling, or sometimes pedaling, but,
Have they been through Conneaut before?
No, this is
No.
the first time for us.
no, I don't remember them ever being here. They tried going to different parts of the state, and I'm sure they've gone to northwestern and southwestern Ohio many times, or the central part. This is the first time I've heard of them coming into Asheville County.
It's the first
But again,
time.
they're not overnighting here. This is just a
Just
lunch stop.
pass through.
Mhm.
It's a lunch stop.
They'll go to us, and then there'll be a break, and then they'll have a rest stop, and I guess they have their meal back in Jefferson. And then, we're Monday, Sunday, they'll be going through Geneva, coming, and then there's gonna be 2 loops, and then they'll pack up Tuesday, and they're going to Lake County. There's another opportunity, but it's a good opportunity, it's a good way of us getting out there in the community, it's a good chance for us to work with Corpus Christi. So,
But they give you suggestions for foods, right?
yes,
Because you're probably looking for high energy foods.
they said sub sandwiches, meat or meatless, hamburgers, veggie, hot dogs, barbecue sandwiches. They said get a hold of a local pizza place and have pizza slices, just have pizzas coming
What
in.
about drinks?
Water, they said they'll set up those big coolers. They tell you how to mix Gatorade, cause they don't want the full strength. Take like 3/4 of the can to the whole container. They tell
Do
you
they
how.
supply the coolers?
No, we would have to get some.
You have to buy
We've
them.
got a
we have
couple,
some, we have some.
yeah,
3.
like a pasta salad. They said baked goods, homemade cookies, homemade brownies, homemade pies are big seller because it's good carbs. We would have to offer a couple, bottled water, cold bottled water. He said one person had an ice cream truck coming, you know who I thought about?
What's his face?
Cellini,
Gabe.
Oh,
Gabe
sure.
Cellini, they're snow
Or
cones.
snow cones,
Yeah, yeah.
Goba approached the Rotary Club, but the Rotary Club turned it down
Did they?
For what, for water or for the luncheon?
for the luncheons.
Yeah, they asked Corpus.
Resources?
Just the manpower involved.
Yeah,
that's what I
that's,
thought.
yeah, we're gonna meet, between us and Corpus Christi, they said they have 6 or 7 people that day. The hard part the busy part will be Saturday and Sunday, getting everything bagged up. Corpus Christi has a bigger kitchen than we do, so they could make a lot of the food, like the hot foods and stuff there. We could do like the celery and carrots and all the cakes and stuff and do it here. We split manpower, split costs, and then split the profit.
So do we need to have a council approval to say we're gonna do this?
Well,
or-
Pastor asked me to bring it to you guys before I
Okay.
committed to this, so.
How many people do you think from here will need to help?
From our church, I'm gonna say at least a dozen. With the prepping and stuff like, and it's during the summer, so we can get the kids involved with this. We can get people that normally,
We have kids.
we have kids, and we've got people. I'm sure Amy Gallagher would help. Some of the teachers that would help that can't because right now they're working. It'll be a Monday morning, we have to be here up and ready to go by 9 o'clock in the morning. They said they will start coming for lunch at 9 o'clock in the morning, cause they're out riding at daybreak,
Yeah.
and we'll be done early. And they supplied the signs, everything.
You sound very passionate about it.
I think it's a good,
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing
I think
too.
it's a good-
I have concerns, obviously,
Yes.
for,
yes,
manpower, resources to take care
Right.
of it.
right, yeah, I know.
You've had problems, we've had problems, everybody seems to have problems getting
Getting help.
Yeah.
help.
And this is what I kinda approached Corpus Christi. I think if we could pull our resources, we might be okay.
I was
Could this-
talking,
I'm sorry.
I was talking to a guy last week, I guess it was, this is Tuesday, but it was last week, and he's heavy into the Catholic churches in Ashtabula, and he told me, he said, we used to have the festival, we used to make $50,000 a
Right.
year.
Yeah.
He said, we had hundreds of volunteers. He said, now I go around and get 20 people to donate $1,000 and we're done.
Right, right.
That's
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts, I mean, I'm just,
I'm
not trying to
No,
say
no,
this is a
no.
bad thing, I think it's
So
a
what's
great
the thing?
thing, it's just,
17th to the 24th.
be
Yeah.
careful what you
Or no,
bite
I'm
off.
sorry.
That's what, that is a
No, wait.
concern, that is
That's
a
not-
legitimate
Can I
concern.
propose something?
17th.
Are there
to the
any
24th.
scout troops that need service projects where
Well,
they would volunteer their time
see,
and count towards badges
I-
and?
I can tell you that they've already approaching the Boy Scouts because they have an opportunity, well, they need a group organization. When they come in Saturday, they're gonna be unloading these semi trucks, they're talking already 2, possibly 3 semi
So they're
trucks.
asking the Boy Scouts to help with that.
Yeah,
What
what they're,
about the
but,
Girl, what about the Girl Scouts?
I don't know, I'm not,
I'm just throwing ideas out.
I don't know, again, if we got them, we would have to give them some money. But they are looking for people or organizations to go out there and what we'll do, the bicyclists would say, that's my bag, you pick it up and the bicyclist will pay you $1 to $2 per bag plus a tip. So it's a good opportunity to make money there.
But you might reach out to the schools too and see if there's service hours people.
Yeah,
need.
there's a lot of kids in high school that need community
I
service
don't
hours.
know if this will be considered community service because they are getting paid.
No, they wouldn't.
No, I don't know.
Or were they?
For just
No,
serve the
the-
lunches and help us.
Yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
think just, for here, yeah.
Yeah, for here, not
For
for them
your-
directly,
Oh, yeah.
to help
Yeah.
For the
us.
shorter, yeah.
Yeah, well, we could do, yeah, we could do that, yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that is Father's Day weekend, do you anticipate that you would have a hard time getting people to help because of Sunday being Father's Day?
Well, then we would make it all, we
Yeah.
would try to get everything done on
On
Saturday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, it is Father's Day weekend, I get that. There is some concerns, but they want an answer from us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, did you say the date's the 24th?
the 17th to the 20th, yeah. They'll come in on Saturday,
During the congregation.
they ride Sunday, they ride Monday, and then they pack up and leave again, and then they're heading out to Lake County somewhere.
I mean, we're a perfect location for it.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
And it's great, it's good for the church to have the,
To have people come here,
well, just to have the focus.
yeah.
Um,
And there's gonna be people coming from all over Ohio, all over our nation, and from all over the world. There are riders coming in from all over the world.
He must really like the bicycle.
They do.
They do,
Fun, we heard. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Me too.
yeah.
Never been a big bike fan.
So I say go for it.
bicycle on it.
My son Adam was only 12 the first year we did it. And he struggled in the first couple of days, but then he picked up the pace. But on the last day, we had extremely strong headwinds, and that really frustrated him. I waited for him, and he showed up. He got off his bike and he threw it down. Now here we are, right on the Ohio-Indiana border. He said, "Call Mom."
playing with you anymore.
I said, Adam, there's no calling along. I said, the only way out of here is that bicycle you just threw down.
Better hope it works.
I said, we're gonna rest a little bit. Here's the map. We're gonna go 3 more miles and turn 90 degrees. We'll have a crosswind. We're gonna go so many more miles, we're gonna turn another 90 degrees, and we're gonna have a tailwind. And he made it. And he bragged to all his friends.
Come on, Mom.
I bet he did tell him to call Mom.
Well,
This is,
no, but I
this
like
is
to
the route, George.
throw that part in.
So, you need a motion?
I don't know that we
Well,
need to vote
I don't know
on
that
this.
we need a motion, but, I mean, Michelle is, you can tell by her energy that she wants to spearhead this.
Right.
And that you can, I mean, we can give her the blessing to go ahead and recruit volunteers for this and work with Corpus Christi and work with GOBA and take it from there. We're not planning on have VBS during that period of time. The only conflict that there is Soapbox Derby is also that weekend, or is that Saturday or that Sunday?
It's on Saturday.
It's on
Saturday.
Yeah, they're coming through on Sunday.
Don't they finish on Sunday morning?
I don't know, but they're coming, they're not coming down 7, they're coming down Salisbury this way. They're coming down.
And what
And
day are
then
they
coming
coming
back
here?
this way?
Monday.
Monday.
So, I mean,
So,
ours
the
is
race will
Mon-
be done,
yeah, for us, the race will be done.
Okay, so we're gonna do it.
Go for it.
That's what I hear.
We might as well.
You know, and the following week after that is the MS 150. If they,
We're doing that.
More bicycles.
of course, we don't get involved. in
Right.
that.
What's the date for this?
No, they come in on Sunday
We
morning.
will
like I
be
said.
on June,
19th? Is what I heard.
17th
we
to
would,
the
And,
24th.
yeah, 17th to the
little
24th,
restaurant down at the park will not be open.
Right.
right.
17th, is this,
It's,
is-
they'll be
No
arriving
napping.
to the Jefferson Fairgrounds on the 17th,
Which is a Saturday.
which is a Saturday.
So
On the
we're the
18th.
19th.
Huh?
We are the 19th for lunch.
Right,
That's what we needed to know.
yeah, we are the 19th for lunch.
Keep it simple.
but we have to prep on the 17th and 18th.
Yes.
I know one thing that we appreciated when recycling was instead, it's nice if we could sit in a chair or a bench or something instead of on the ground, but this, I don't know
They're gonna
What
set
would
up
you do
tents,
about that?
they're gonna
It's
set
not
up
a
tents,
deal killer.
Yeah. they're gonna set up big tents across the street, so they can sit on the shade,
Okay.
big huge tents, so they're gonna, so basically, they're gonna get their food from us and.
Shade or in the.
And
under
we'll-
Yeah.
the,
They'll
under
go
the,
across the
rain.
street to actually eat it then.
That's the plan, I mean, they might just collapse in our parking lot,
if, you know,
I don't know. But the plan is that they're gonna have tents set up where they can sit underneath there and get cool. We'll have the water horses here, and like I said, they said they would reimburse us for water.
Okay.
And they provide the porta potties, they provide the signage and everything for us. They give us step by step everything we need to do. I mean, these people are amazingly
well,
organized.
they've been doing this for, I don't know, 30 years or something.
More than that, they said like,
Have instructions, we should be able to handle it.
I agree. What's next?
okay, so we're okay with this? I can,
Yes.
so I can, okay.
Yeah, Michelle, we're
Okay.
okay. I don't know how many people are.
So,
She
Pearl
mentioned that
Ann,
I'll be talking to
Kathy,
Yes.
George,
No.
Kay, Ma-
Moving on.
I'll
Moving
make you
on.
some cookies.
We're moving on.
I'll give you some
You
black.
can all discuss this offline, what you
Yes.
wanna bring, who's
Right.
gonna help.
right, I appreciate it, thank you.
You're welcome. We're going back to our tabling thing.
Or what?
Stacy did
Table.
table thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, good luck trying to figure this meetings minutes out. Stacy did mention, that I should look in to see if they are written ballots. They are written ballots, so I've written ballots for you. They have to be anonymous. There's each officer has a line. You know who's up for nomination, you can, then write their name in. So take one, pass it along, vote.
Only reason I remember that is because we talked about it in the
Yeah.
congregation meeting, because somebody asked the question.
Yes. And if you don't know their,
I do have a question.
Yes.
While we're passing these around. we're not gonna always vote on the
No.
treasurer. Basically,
You take
because every 2 years, it would take us 2 years to learn her job. If she
Well,
wouldn't-
You got the
she's
term.
assuming she is
Never.
elected as treasurer, she has 2 years, and then in 2 years we have to revote.
And then we just keep revoting her after, every 2 years, right?
There's an exclusion in there for the treasurer.
Yeah,
not
okay.
in terms of-
Okay, thank you.
And then you can, once you're done, give them to me as pastor, I get a count. I think.
Her name is Sandra.
That's my first name.
Is it?
But no, you write K, you can write
Is
K.
Catherine?
You can write
I was
it.
gonna
Yeah.
say,
Okay.
I go by my middle
Yep.
Hopefully they know it's
I know,
me. It's
yeah.
other people.
I know who K
name.
is.
Right, don't-
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I go by my middle name too, so.
I go by both my names.
Yes, you do. Yes, I do.
What's your birthday?
Dawn,
Yeah, I know that.
in the morning, like in the morning.
Dawn and Warren.
Or Delta Dawn. The seventies, baby.
I know,
really dangerous.
I know, and I remember that, and I got teased about that,
Don't start.
yeah.
Go through your mind.
I got the most hillbilly name that my mother could find, but I'm like, every time somebody says my middle name, I'm like, it's like Kathy Jean, I hear eat your grits.
Good, great.
Dawn?
All right, so while I look at these, continue on, or else we'll be here forever. So, are we done with old business?
I think so, that one covered one new business, because Gobo was new.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I can just say that the dinner Sunday was successful. I hope everybody liked it.
They
That's
did,
very
actually.
good.
I've got a lot of compliments that they loved it, so.
Then we made
Good
sure
job.
to do it again.
Yeah, why not, right?
We did find out that Margaret has a disorder.
Okay.
She likes to shop and she likes to buy food.
Okay. So the first, we're gonna go over some policies. These are, updated policies, just need approval or discussion and approval. First one is funerals, take one, pass it along.
Take one.
We can talk about what was revised, if anything.